welcome to Club Rats. We're going to do our NBA talk about the All Star game, what everybody thought, kind of the state of the NBA, where we're currently at, and all that good stuff. Bill, what did you think of the All Star game?
It was a travesty. It was a mess, and it wasn't even the format. The format was actually pretty cool. It was just the production. Like you have timeouts. Every timeout takes 20 minutes because you have to do a Mr. Beast challenge, or you have to give the inside the NBA crew fishing rods. Like they just had all these like jokey things, and I thought the whole point of this All Star game was to get the players to take it seriously again. And when you have Kevin Hart on the court with the microphone the whole time, you're just doing the opposite. You're really doing the game a disservice.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more in that aspect. I felt like um, the players were trying hard. We saw the first game with the Rising Stars versus Shaq's OGs. That game went down to the wire 42-35, and it was like a legit show. And then when all the gimmicks started coming in, the players were complaining on the sidelines, like, let us play, let us play. I enjoyed everything else. I enjoyed the Rising Stars game on Friday. I enjoyed the three-point shootout. Even the dunk contest, I was a fan of. I like Stephon Castle, but Mac McClung did great. And when you have people on Twitter arguing who should have won, that means it was a good dunk contest. Scratch out the other two that didn't do well. But between Castle and McClung, I thought they did well. I don't mind the format personally. I thought the format was fun. But the problem with that, the point total score was too low. 40 points. Bad teams in the NBA score 40 points, in the quarter themselves. So I thought that was bad.
You think they should extend it to like 100 points or
100
more
is
than?
probably too long for their liking. But when you have a 3 hour show that only has 42 minutes of game time, it's kind of ridiculous. Like Jalen Brunson got voted in as all starter, and he only played 6 minutes. Granted, his team got knocked out. But for somebody that the fans want to see only getting 6 minutes of playing time, that's a problem. But in total, the gimmick didn't work. 42 minutes of game time, that's a problem. That's less than a normal NBA game. We didn't even get to see our star players play. Or think about LeBron going down there and all the fans think they're going to see him. And he say he has a sore ankle. Anthony Edwards didn't play because he has a sore groin. It's like, is that a sex joke? Like, why are you not playing this game?
Do you think LeBron? Do you think he did that intentionally to like snub somebody from taking his spot, or do you think it just as an ego thing, or you don't think he didn't care? Or
For me, I think I've heard some people mention this that he could have been going against how the All Star format was. I just think he did for show personally, doing it that short before game time because even Giannis was still there, but no one was highlighting Giannis. LeBron still took game time pictures in street clothes with the rest of the OG team, and it takes away from the other guys. Like it's a great picture. I actually enjoy the All Star jersey. See, I like that baby blue on them. And then there's LeBron standing in the middle in street clothes. I thought that was kind of whack. Fair, you're a LeBron fan. What do you think about him missing out on that game and it coming that close?
You know what, dude? On this one, it's just plain selfishness. I think LeBron's ego took the best of him. I don't know what he was trying to do, whether he's protesting or whatever it is, but at the end of the day, it's selfish. There's players who are going to be out there who want to be there, who want to play, who want to, make more of a legacy for themselves. I thought Sabonis was a good alternative. I thought he's had a great year.
Or you know,
Yeah,
Powell is averaging 24 points a game, one of the few players in NBA history to average that much and not
like
make
I
an All Star
said,
game.
he knew he wasn't going to play. And at 40 years of age, he doesn't have to. He's been through so many All Star games. The fans want to go out there and see him. They spend all this money. It was very selfish of him. I didn't like what he did. I don't stand by or agree with it. As far as the All Star game, I mean, I personally didn't watch it, honestly.
I mean, honestly, I don't blame you.
I
It's almost like Pro Bowl level at that point.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
don't
it's just
never
a
watched
joke.
the
Why are
Pro
they
Bowl.
trying to make it something that's really not?
and
Exactly.
if LeBron, told the league I can't play, he still would have got the All Star
He would have.
number.
It
It would,
yeah. So
I've
they're not
actually
all-star.
heard a handful of
keyboard warriors.
people that know the game. They're saying, "Oh, he still won the All Star nod." Do they not know that even if they're injured, they still get the All Star nod
Yeah.
on their accolades?
Still
So
part of your
I don't
credentials.
understand what these. Do they even watch the game? Do they understand that you still get the accolades? So that's not it. He didn't sit out last second just because he still won the accolade. He would guy regardless.
One thing
I think he
want-
wanted
Sorry.
to. No, you're good. I think he just wanted the publicity. Like, oh, I'm sitting out last second. I'm still going to take pictures in street clothes. And then he still is different from everyone else there.
One
Like-
thing for this to Billy first, and then I want John and Jesiah's, is I heard Draymond say, "Oh, we need to highlight these young guys more. Give them some love." But yet when they were in the All-Star game on Sunday, he was like, I don't know why these young guys are playing. Like people aren't coming to see them. He kind of contradicted himself. What do you guys think of
100%.
that?
Yeah, I thought it was a really bad look because that is about like expanding the game and putting a highlight on like a lot of guys that maybe you didn't know, and Draymond just undercut all of that. I do want to finish on the LeBron thing. I do think he was protesting something. I don't know if he was mad that the NBA didn't consult him on the format change because it does feel like that. Because I do believe the team's captain's idea that they did for the past few years was his idea.
Mm-hmm.
So it showed like how his power is kind of slipping in the NBA as he gets older. The other thing about it is it's just like look at me, Louis. Like he just wants all the attention on him. His famous quote is "Don't fit in, fit out," and that's like the perfect example of that.
Yeah, 100%.
I like that.
I like that.
He's like a mafia boss, but now I feel like he's like kind of since he's on his way out, is like.
I mean, I want to whack him.
I'll be honest. I watched a little bit of it. I didn't pay attention to it too in depth, but I thought the NBA did a poor job of kind of celebrating the All-Star game. Like it felt like everybody they had on or talking about it, the live broadcast was kind of being negative on the All-Star game itself. I've never seen another sport, whether it be NFL, NHL, MLB, they don't necessarily say this is a bad thing, even if it is. I thought that was strange by the NBA. I don't think you should be broadcasting your entertainment and being negative on it. I mean, I'm not saying you should not be honest, but Draymond's sitting there saying the NBA sucks. It's not fun. It's boring. Before it even starting, I just in the city that's hosting it, I just thought that was a kind of a very negative way to approach
Kevin Hart was even saying bad things about the All-Star game while it was going on.
Yeah, Hart said like, Big shouldn't be shooting threes, blah blah blah. And as he's saying that, Karl Anthony Towns shoots a half court three, but makes it. It's like, well, the league is different. Like our big shoot threes. It is what it is. Especially in an All-Star game, what you want them to have a post touch in an All-Star game? Is that what you want, Kevin Hart? I think that was very poor of the NBA side of things to have Hart on the show. I think we can all agree on that. It's not like he's some NBA mind that we all look at. Now, if they want to be a joke, have him run the circus with a celeb game on Friday. Have him run that circus, but not commentate that game.
He'd be great on that game. Yeah.
He usually plays in it. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
But they just want, like I said, they want to have their cake and eat it too. The NBA is a social media sport. People talk about the games more than watch the games. They talk about the league more than they watch the league. And so that's why they do these things, and not all of them work, but they do make money and they do get us talking about it. So the Kevin Hart thing, the Mr. Beast thing, they're getting the under 30 crowd, and they're getting them to watch it on X, on Instagram, on these little feeds, on TikTok. And we just have to accept that like the NBA doesn't care about ratings. They care about attention. They took over the whole Super Bowl week for 7 straight days. All everybody talked about was an NBA trade. We didn't hear one thing about the Super Bowl until the Super Bowl happened.
Yeah, I mean, that was huge, right? Speaking of LeBron losing his power, we've seen the Lakers trade for Luka, right? And it's like LeBron might realize he is losing his power. Like you said, I think that's a great point about that. But back to the All-Star game. I tried giving it a chance, and I'm sure most NBA fans try giving it a chance. But imagine the casual fan that hasn't been watching much. They are about to tune into a new format, maybe excited for it. Then you have Draymond, like we just highlighted, or any analyst or former NBA player talking about the game. Even LeBron and KD went against that format months ago when it got announced. It's like, oh, that's one way to get excited. Let's have our star players shitting on it before it's even broadcasted.
Yeah.
And if they're talking about a struggling platform and trying to bring in the most fans they can, that's not how they do that. It's one thing to criticize like the refs, X, Y, and Z, but if they're trying to bring new fans, you can't shit on an All-Star game when that's supposed to be like a casual fan's like paradise.
Sure.
You're seeing the best players in the world playing in one spot. One thing I wanted to bring up, I do think nostalgia is ruining the modern NBA game. We'd like to highlight, when I was watching All-Star games when I was little, they tried hard. They really didn't. Maybe they tried.
Well, they would try hard at the end.
Yeah, the fourth quarter is
the idea of it, but still, for the most part, not much of it.
Guys like the thing with the nostalgia though, those guys were performers. Like Magic came back from AIDS, and he comes. I'm not trying to be funny, but he'd come into the All-Star game, and he was like making threes.
Well, it's because no one wanted to touch him.
But-
they thought you could.
but he
but they thought you could get A's by touching him.
I know it's funny. And I mean, it's a funny joke, but Magic, there is nobody like in the NBA that has Magic Johnson's charisma. The NBA was spoiled with stars. I mean, who is like Magic in the NBA right now? Who's even close?
Bron's probably the closest guy, but
He's a
But even
one-on-one,
personality-wise, though, Magic. I mean, Magic will play if he could play,
But they've only had 5 of those guys in 75 years of NBA basketball.
and they were all in that time period.
Yeah.
or most of them were in that time period. I do think we were spoiled then.
and we got the highlight of Kobe guarding Jordan in an All-Star game in the fourth quarter, but still, that only happens sometimes.
But
most of the All-Star games were
Even
kind of
LeBron
jokes.
was so-
Kobe, though, there was games where Kobe he was guarding LeBron full court in the All-Star game.
Yeah, exactly. He was.
And I'm not a Kobe fan, but he didn't say it a sore ankle. He was playing
Yeah,
and
no,
giving
I-
everything.
I
But you're
gave him
remembering
his
like 4 or
nose in the
5
All-Star
possessions.
game.
That wasn't like that the whole game. Like,
But
yes,
do
there was
we
a
have-
moment.
Do
we
we have
don't
any
have that.
possessions like that at
No,
all?
we don't have moments.
I
Like
mean,
that now.
we
That's
had
what
one
I'm
a couple
saying.
years ago when Jaylen Brown was guarding Tatum. They were taking the series for a couple possessions, but everyone wants to shit on that type, or what's happening now, I should say. And when we think about the heyday when we were kids, it's a nostalgia factor, and maybe it's because we're getting older. That's why we're shitting on the All-Star game. It's not. We're like, this isn't real basketball when it's not
But
supposed to
think
be.
about
I mean,
when you liked the All-Star game. How old were you?
Yeah, I was like 10, 13.
Exactly. It's
I,
for kids.
I loved when I was
That
in
is
high
true.
school though, and I saw the great dunk contest between Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. 2 years in
Yeah,
a row.
that
And
was
that's not
huge.
even a great dunk contest.
Yeah.
We think that sucks.
Yeah.
The
Because
Aaron
we think
Gordon
of
and-
yes,
and
because we
LaVine.
think of Steve
No.
Francis and
Vince
and
Carter.
Vince Carter.
That-
Yeah,
I
and
thought that
that's
was a
it-
great dunk contest.
Well,
LaVine
exactly.
and
We're the same
Gordon.
nation. Y'all are the same nation.
I think
so that
Dwight
makes
Howard
sense.
was the best dunker that I've seen in an All-Star weekend. But I
Um,
was a kid. Like,
but I
you
mean,
said-
exactly.
Like
so
you guys said.
exactly. It's
We're
a
proving the
nostalgia
point.
factor.
Yeah,
I
So
think-
I think that's
did
ruining
think-
the
I did
modern
think-
NBA.
I do want to say a positive thing about this All-Star weekend. I thought this dunk contest was better than
Exactly.
I've seen in most years. I thought McClung and Castle
Yeah.
was a good.
I mean, there
match.
is only so much you can do with a dunk
Of
contest.
course, and these guys
You
are
know,
NBA
it's
players.
like-
They're not professional like dunk.
I will
what
say
mean?
this,
Like, there's
I don't-
professional dunkers.
I don't
and
like that McClung, whatever the hell his name
He's
is.
not in the NBA.
He's not really an NBA player. Like when we our nostalgia, me and Billy, we're talking about Vince Carter or Steve Francis. They weren't
It's-
the best players in the NBA, but they were
It's
they were
literally
top
top 50.
20 players.
Yeah, it's
like
top
in the
They
fifty.
were
league.
all stars.
They were all stars. I think that matters. Like I do think it's lame that LeBron James has never done a dunk contest.
That's
And he's
honestly where
one
it
of the greatest
started.
dunkers of all time.
That's where it
That's
started.
yeah. That's honestly where it
It's kinda
started.
like-
The downfall was when Braun, for the first 10 years of his career, they were trying to get him in an All-Star game. He'll do pregame All-Star dunks, but he wouldn't do the dunk contest because he said he's scared of getting hurt. It's just a loser mindset. But I don't mind these young guys doing. Like I thought Stephon Castle did his thing. I
Yeah.
think he had.
Put his name out there.
I think he had the best dunks without gimmicks. I do think McClung won, but Stephon Castle made a name himself. All-Star weekend, he got Rising Star MVP. He came up runner-up in the dunk contest, and he didn't play bad in the All-Star game on Sunday. So, like, he's making a name for himself. So there are parts I liked. What can they do next year? In case you guys didn't know, TNT's done with the All-Star game. It's going back to NBC, which is kind of the heyday like you talked about.
Yeah.
So we're going to see something different next
Who's
year.
going to be the broadcasters for NBC?
I don't know.
Up
Bob-
in the air
Is
Is
right
Bob
now.
Costas coming back out of retirement?
He
No.
might, right?
They'll
I'm
get
joking.
the big names. They'll get the Reggie Millers. They'll get like the A+ Kevin
Yeah.
Garlands.
So what can they do differently to maybe bring the All-Star game back? It's a hot topic. John, let's start with you.
I think they should make it a game again. I like East West. I like the regionality of it.
Mhm.
I think it's even to this day the East and the West play differently. The East is always, historically it's always been more physical. The West is more of a free flowing skill game, as you'll say. But I like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I don't think this 4-team stuff. It's just there's so much that can distract you in today's society. Who's going to take the time and look at these different teams and try to understand the rules?
Yeah, as a casual fan, somebody that maybe doesn't watch TNT, when they see Team Shaq, do they even know what the hell's going on? So maybe as a casual fan aspect, they drop the
And,
ball
like,
on that for sure.
I think the NBA actually how they picked the teams. They picked it. They had a vet team. They had a Euro team. What was it? A young team.
Yep.
Yeah.
A
If they
young
just
all-star
said
team.
that,
It would have been great.
I think that would have been actually. I think people
Better.
would have got it and like, oh wow, that's actually cool. I want to see the Euro team. This potentially another good idea.
It's kind of like hockey,
They
what
could-
we just saw.
They could also make it a USA versus World type All Star game.
Yeah, that's true. I
I
think
think
they tried that in the past, haven't they? At least in
Not in the
at
All-Star
least
game.
in the young people.
Yeah,
didn't they?
yeah,
The Rising Stars and
Yeah.
stuff.
and the Rising
I think
Stars.
that would
think
be a
they
bad
tried
thing to
that,
do
Yeah.
for the actual All-Star game. But again, it's an All-Star game. People. It's
It's
easy,
not supposed to be taken serious.
It's
in
easy
the
to
first
hate on the
place.
NBA right now. Bill, I did want to ask you a question though, because you were talking about it's a social media sport, and that's great. What's something the NBA could do though to improve its ratings or improve its image to improve its ratings? I still think that matters. I think ratings do matter.
I think it doesn't. I think it's an outdated way of measuring success because they don't care about it. They have the TV money. They don't have another TV deal for 11 years. So they don't have to worry about the TV ratings until that TV deal is up. So all they care about is expanding the game and making more money.
Clicks.
And the problem is clicks mean more money than TV ratings.
Is TV even going to be around in 11 years? It's
What is
all
t-
streaming, dude.
What's it
Yeah.
going to look like?
Like, yeah, like, you know what I mean?
But to fixing the All-Star game, I think East-West is outdated just because of the way every year players
I
change
agree.
teams. It's not like you have
That
like
is
your
true.
faces of the East and West
yeah.
like in the past.
Like Kevin Durant, he was on.
He's
you know,
been
he's on a
he's
different
been
team
every
every year.
Forth every 3
West
years.
and the East.
Jimmy Butler. I mean, they
Yeah.
all go back and forth. So that's why you can't do East and West anymore. But because that most of the best players in the league are international, you actually have enough to do U.S. versus the world.
Yeah. I
So
like
with that
idea.
aspect, do you think they'll buy in to rep their country or whatever it is? Because then we go back to how are we going to get the players to buy in?
I think European players would buy in for sure.
100%.
It's tough
I
to
mean,
say.
it was just world,
you watch-
and,
But
and we just saw them like.
But
not
world
care.
doesn't mean like like Serbia for Jokic or like Argentina.
Well, that's
for
what it
Bond,
would
like,
be
you know what I
in
mean?
the All Star game.
It almost would be
is-
like a Ryder Cup.
It'll
If
be
you guys are
world.
familiar with
Yeah.
golf,
Yeah.
it could be like that, and those guys get into that.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea as well.
Huh.
I think what I would like to see is just kind of like a lottery. Like it's like you have numbers 1 through 20, and whatever number you get, you go left. The second one goes right, and so on. It's just kind of random. Now, that may I like that idea
So you
personally.
want the teams to be picked at random.
At random, I don't want people picking their friends. Like I'm cool with him. I want him on my team. I
Like,
just want it to be
like
done
Giannis
randomly.
picked Dame.
Yeah.
Pick
Yeah,
one.
and like
Exactly.
one year-
It's
ago.
dude, what the
One
what-
year,
no.
Jokic was like picked last.
Yeah,
like he
he's
was
the
a scrub.
best
He's like
player in
he's
the
won the
NBA.
MVP 3 years in a
Yeah.
row. It's like
I
how is he
like-
last?
I like just the randomness of it, and then they have like maybe they pick the teams a little bit more in advance, and they could kind of I don't know get up whatever it is, so they know. But I just like I think that would be more exciting because you don't know what the teams are going to be. Like I pick you, you pick him. Like I said, just the randomness of it, I think it would draw a little bit more of attention and be like, oh, I didn't imagine these guys playing together.
I do
check
think
it
the
out.
NBA is held prisoner to the player that's in the league at the time. They can't control the guy.
Braun sitting out.
There are, like not to be nostalgic, but when you talk about the 90s, there were so many personalities just on a team, let alone the whole league. That's what I think made the NBA interesting is you had each team with their own kind of, unique flavor that is lacking now.
Well, that goes back to one of our previous episodes. I just think the NBA doesn't market teams or players as well anymore.
Yeah. That's something I did actually enjoy in the tournament style. I like them highlighting the Rising Stars team that won. I thought that was fun. I don't think they had a chance in any of it, but them trying against the OGs, it ended up
They
being
had
a
them on the
game.
road.
I like
Yeah.
that. I actually like.
No,
that
I enjoyed it
concept.
too. I enjoyed it for the most part. What I think, how you could fix the All Star game, I am also a fan of the East versus West style. I don't think them switching, conferences every handful of years would change that.
Well, that's why we had to change it in the first place because it wasn't working.
Well, I think we had it right a couple years ago when they had the target score at the end of the game for the fourth quarter, but the first 3 quarters, whoever won that quarter, they will have money to a charity, which will be a tax write-off for the players in that game.
See, I think they should have the
for a
kids from the
monetary
charity
value.
sitting courtside, so they have to play hard in front of them.
Yeah, and no, honestly, that could work, and so that's something I would do personally. And then whoever wins the game at the end of it, I think that conference should get home court advantage in the playoffs. Imagine the Mavericks as what were they, the 5th seed in the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah.
4th
Home
seed,
court
5th seed,
advantage over
and they
the-
would have had home court advantage over the Celtics. Like it gives All-Star game meaning, not just
They
for
would
the
definitely
BS
be playing
game.
hard.
I don't know
for
if I
the whole
like
season.
that though. I mean,
It's too long.
like if you're the
Why
if
is it wonky?
if
It
you're a
will give them
Celtics
something
fan
to
and
play
you played 82 games and you had the best record,
well,
and
it
then
will
you have
get them out. It will get them out the East. You still get home court advantage in your conference.
Yeah, but I
then
wanted
in
in
the-
the finals.
that's
Well,
that's
then
more important than
put the
anything.
All-Star game.
Well, if you're that,
Players would play hard for that.
if you're a
dude.
top seed
that.
in the.
They tried it in baseball and they went back.
Yeah, it didn't
They
work
stopped.
in baseball.
Well, why not try
It's
it?
a
one
different
year?
sport.
If you're a top seed in the conference, more likely than not, you're going to have more than one All-Star. We've seen it this year. The Cavaliers had 3, right? We've seen in previous years. Celtics was in 2012, 2011. They had 4 All-Stars.
But LeBron's on Tatum's team. Why does LeBron want to help Tatum get home court?
You'd have to go East-West at that point.
But that's why I said East-West.
You can't.
No,
do it.
no. I said East-West.
Yeah, you can't have like a random
OGs
team.
and-
Yeah.
No, I didn't say that. I just said I liked it for the Rising Stars, and I enjoyed the tournament. I just don't know how well that will be in future years. I like say in 10 years when Adam Silver is done, is he going to be remembered for the tournament guy or as the tournament guy? Every idea he has is just, hey, let's try this tournament. Hey, let's try that tournament. I enjoy the NBA Cup. I enjoy the playing tournament, but is it really moving the needle? Like,
Well,
if you look at David Stern, though, like, John, you're big on David Stern, even though you don't like him as a person. But
I don't
he
like
ran,
David Stern.
but he ran a good league, which is what you've said.
But
in the
it's
past.
more profitable now than it was with David Stern. David
I
Stern never
think-
got a $76 billion TV deal. So you can say
I mean,
ratings
you
on
can also look
but
at the
he set it up
times.
to get to that point.
You can also look at the times.
There is no, like, he did.
He started
the
the
dream
whole-
team. That
he started
this whole
that.
Euro rush. I mean, that right there set that up. Like you set that stage for that. It builds.
He planted the seed.
But
Yeah.
I mean, we could.
And I'm not saying Stern's great. I'm just the one thing about Stern that I liked. I think he was very corrupt.
Yeah.
I think he did a lot of.
Ask Kings fans.
You know that with the officiating, you don't really fully know if it's a square game you're watching. I think he also covered up, Michael Jordan's gambling situations because he didn't want to. But
He didn't want to Pete Rose the guy.
But I can't blame him because he's our number one marketable
He protects
guy.
the
We're going to
sport.
ban him from the league. I get it. I do
That's
think
why he played baseball.
what I liked about
I agree.
Stern though is everybody in the league. They might have hated him, but they knew he had power. I don't feel like Silver has that
He's
same
like a
gravitas.
mafia boss. This is more of a players' league now. Like,
Yeah,
players
and that's
can do
not
whatever they
Silver's
want.
fault. It's just the way the league is going to a point. It's just the players have
Every
more power.
player has their own brand now. They all have social media accounts ran by a team. They have YouTube
They have a
channels filming
podcast.
the games. They got
Dude,
podcasts.
Paul
George
George
have a
literally
podcast.
has what's
Draymond's
harder to
got a
make the
podcast.
NBA or run a podcast.
But
mean,
here's a question
dude,
for you guys:
come
who does Adam Silver work for? The fans or the owners?
The owners.
The owners.
And he makes them more
Yeah.
money. So
Yeah.
that's all that matters at the end of the day. He makes them more money.
So they don't care about the viewers. That's why
But
their
you do.
viewership
But
is
if you
down.
keep putting out, like you're saying, 11 years. If it's 11 years of awfulness, the TV contract won't be as big.
I mean, they said that about this last one, and they got $76 billion.
Of course,
I mean, the
But-
NBA's been dead for 10 years now. We've been.
I
hearing
don't
this.
agree with that. I don't think it's been dead for 10 years.
That's what a lot of people say. Ever since
I-
the Warriors dynasty
I-
ended.
I think it's gotten bad more post-COVID.
Okay.
That's what I would say. I'd say pre-COVID, it was still the NBA that I knew. Post-COVID, it's a little bit different.
Would you say his ideas have been largely successful or unsuccessful though?
I've actually enjoyed the tournaments outside.
So like the
I don't have a
Vegas
problem with the
tournament,
tournament. I
the
don't have a
Vegas
problem.
tournament
I think-
works and the playoff tournament works.
Mhm.
Like the
it makes
I like
the lower
both.
Yeah.
seats matter.
I don't
Yeah.
think those are bad. Yeah, I think those are good. Yeah, I think it's good. It gives a team a chance. I think every year a team that's played in has kind of gone on a run or at least made a season of their. They
we've
made a
had-
season of it.
We've had 8 seeds
Yeah.
make the final.
I think that's great.
It's insane.
I think that's good.
Something we've seen in previous years, parity kind of hurts the NBA, and we've had a different championship every year. So that's why you said, post COVID, it might be on the downfall. But that's because
We haven't had one back-to-back championship.
we haven't.
Yeah.
So
Give
maybe,
it. Wait till June, guys. We got this.
yeah, Celtics might be that next team that everyone
Hopefully
wants
not.
to root against.
I think
Um,
Cleveland will win.
Well, then it's the same
And then
thing.
it won't be a
It-
back to back.
It will be parity. Like we saw the Warriors, go to the finals. Was
When-
it 4 out of 4 years
When-
between 2016 and 2019?
When did the NBA sign that TV contract?
6 months ago.
Oh, they just signed
Yeah.
it. No, I mean it is what it is.
TV deals
I do
expire
think
after this
th-
year.
it's-
Well, that's why
weird.
TNT and all those people lost their rights because they got the new one. So that's why NBC outbid TNT, Amazon outbid them, and then ESPN gets.
I do think
what
it's
was
a.
Shaq going on a rant about then?
because he's basically out of a job.
I do think the NBA. There's a lot of hatred towards it or talking negatively of it. That's not necessarily totally true. It gets a bad rap.
It's more fun to talk about the NBA
Yeah.
being like, oh,
It's
it was
cool
better
shit
when-
on it.
Yeah.
And again, it kind of goes back to my point. I do think nostalgia is kind of ruining modern basketball. It is the best it's ever been in a sense of the players are better, the 1 through 15 is better. We're kind of suffocating for an expansion team right now. As soon as Celtics finalize their new ownership group. Essentially, that's what's holding up. So there's going to be an expansion team soon, which could bring a new life into the NBA. But the All Star Game is supposed to kind of resurrect the NBA at that time. That's something I highlighted last time. The trade deadline kind of gets everyone excited for these new players, and we're about to see it right now.
What do you guys think of what KD said? He's like, "How about we just don't do an All Star game?"
I mean, he's being facetious. He wasn't serious.
That's a lose-lose thing for the fans and for the NBA as a product. They need that to highlight the star players, and they need it for the credential. What's the point of highlighting somebody? Hey, this guy's an all-star, but he doesn't. There's no all-star game.
And I guarantee we can complain about the All Star format. The All Star game's probably always going to suck no matter what. But what they're going to add, and I think it will probably be in the next year with these new TV channels wanting something big. It's something the WNBA already did, and it worked fucking phenomenally. Is a one-on-one tournament.
Yeah. The one problem with that, I still don't think the star players will be down for that. Because what if they get beat by a guy riding the bench, like say Karis LeVert, right? Or just think of
No, but you can
you have $1 million pot. They're
No,
going to play.
but you pick the guys you want to put in the tournament
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
No, but I'm 100% down for that. I think it'll be fun. It'll be new. It'll be eventful. And one-on-one basketball is totally different than the team sport. We see on the YouTube scene right now, there's a lot of one-on-one channels growing tremendously that are trying to be what the UFC is now. How they started. I watch a lot of YouTube ball, and I love it personally because it's a different style of ball and it's more personal. So I'm all for that. I think it'll be fun.
And the players seem down for it because Giannis, Durant, pretty much everybody but LeBron has already commented on how who would win in a one-on-one tournament, and they all get kind of excited and competitive about it. So I don't think that you would be missing as many stars as you guys think. I think Giannis would definitely be in it. I think Durant would definitely be in it. I think Kyrie would definitely be in it. Tatum and Brown, you have to pry them off a basketball court.
Kyrie and Wemby would be nasty. Did you
Wemby,
if you ever place again. That's actually a great segue. Wemby is now out for the season with a blood clot. We saw Bosch's career get ended short because of this, but we did see Brandon Ingram come back from this. What do you guys think is going to happen with Wemby?
You should be a little more honest. It wasn't a blood clot in his lungs like it was Chris Bosch.
Correct.
A blood clot in the shoulder is a lot less serious.
And Ingram's was in his leg.
Yeah, and Hakeem Olajuwon had it in his shoulder. The Thompson twin on the Pistons had it in his shoulder.
Asar, yep.
So let's not act like the guy's gonna die. It's
okay.
No,
I didn't say, but just saying, we've seen both sides of things. What's gonna happen? Is he gonna be back ready and healthy next year? Is everything fine?
We're not doctors, so we won't know. But I would say, it's obviously a terrible situation for the NBA. Even if it's a 5% chance that he doesn't play, it's not good. If there was one guy that you would say you wouldn't want to give a blood clot to, he would probably be the guy.
Number one.
So it is a bad.
Yeah.
And in the NBA, I'm not a doctor, but blood clots, if you're in the NBA, you're flying everywhere.
Yeah, that's something I was
It's not good for it. So if I was in the NBA, I would be looking into some type of science or way, how can we get these guys on planes? Because this is going to happen again. These guys there's tall guys. You just named a bunch of them. You would want to figure out a way to try to make these guys healthy so they could travel and they don't get blood clots.
Basically, the reason why blood clots are so common is two factors. It's height, and it's just sitting in the place for hours on end in the air. So on a plane.
So basically, every NBA player
exactly.
is
and
this is the worst situation for
him since he was 12, 13 years old, traveling.
And he just flied from France in the Olympics.
Yeah.
So you could kind of see how San Antonio you bounce.
No, the NBA travel is not good for your body.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not good. I mean, it's a bad situation. You got a lot of tall guys getting on planes, and if Wemby was out forever, the only thing I would say to it would kind of be like a Len Bias situation where the league is prepping, building for this guy. It's going to be Len Bias versus Michael Jordan type thing,
highlighting a young star.
Flag versus Wemby. People want to see that. I feel like we would all be robbed if that wasn't able to happen.
100%. And speaking of Wemby, we literally had a whole episode or segment dedicated to this. Wemby winning DPOY. Now he's done. Who's going to win? Let's start with you, Billy, in your opinion.
The Jaren Jackson wave is on right now. He's the betting favorite heavily. I just never believed in Memphis. I don't like Memphis. I don't like the way they play basketball. I think they're a first-round knockout with the right matchup.
What seed are they?
Like 2 or 3 right now.
So who would they play?
Like Lakers, Dallas, somebody like that.
Which they could lose.
Yeah,
they could definitely.
If that's
lose.
the matchup.
But I would would give it to Evan Mobley. I think the Cavs defense is really good, and
That's
he's the
who I
reason
like.
why.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. The Cavs have been on a tear this year. As much as people are talking about the Thunder and Shea, like I see Shea's in top five, getting that award too, which I just think is absurd. Even though he is good defensively and the Thunder are killing it, I think Mobley is who I would choose.
Who's the best defensive player in the Thunder?
It would probably be Dort. But they do back committee. Like Chet, even though he hasn't played much, he is a great shot blocker. Isaiah Hartenstein is a big body. He's been blocking shots too. They bring Caruso in off the bench. They do it by committee over there, but because
They
Shea
have
gets
6 or
steals,
7 great defenders.
Shea gets steals. He reaches a lot. He kind of does like the Allen Iverson thing, where he gets 2 to 3 steals a game because he reaches every possession. Yeah.
That's why I hate steals for
Yeah,
any
steals aren't
defensive stat.
great,
It's not a
yeah.
good stat for defense.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give you blocks. Blocks fine, but not steals.
But then also we've seen the other side of that where we gave Rudy Gobert a few awards because he got a lot of blocks. I know he was also like an analytical sweetheart too.
And Mark Gasol.
Yeah, he
BS.
got it as his
That was
second
such a
team.
BS.
It's wild. I mean, he did play great, but it's wild he got
That was
second
that
team.
was that was a loophole second team because Joakim Noah tied Tyson Chandler.
It's
So then they
weird.
both were first team. So
Yeah.
then that made Gasol. He shouldn't have even been in there.
Great, John. So what about
Reminds
you?
me of someone else who's
About
number
what?
one defensive
Defensive player of the year.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't disagree with you guys. To me, it's a hollow award this year. I mean, clearly Wemby was going to win it in a
Clear-cut
landslide.
favorite.
So it's going to be Mobley or Jackson.
There's like a viral tweet going around. This guy bet like
$10,000. He's
10K
like, how
on
does this
Wemby.
lose?
Yeah, he was like, I'm only winning a little bit, but I'm gonna put this in. And literally the next day, Wemby got ruled out for the season. So that was kind of wild.
It'd be nice if they use this as an opportunity to reevaluate the DPOY
Yeah.
award because why is it a big man award? The
Mhm.
guards play better defense than almost 90% of the bigs, but it's only gone to a guard once in the last 10 years. Marcus Smart is the only one.
Once in the last 30 years, it went from Smart. Then the
Who would
last one was
I think they need to
Gary Payton.
reevaluate the game total, and let's just say you're the clear cut best defensive player.
Why
Something
don't they
like this
just
happens.
do
Why
2
Wemby
awards?
should still win, just because he doesn't reach the game minimum.
No, you need the game limit
need the
because
games.
load management has been a
What
problem.
I guess,
guard would
but
you give?
Who's
the award
better
to?
than him?
Who's like your
defensively
top
all
guard
year?
defensive?
You see what I'm saying?
I mean, I'd probably give it to Dort, honestly, if I'm
Yeah.
giving it to a non-big, but I mean, he's not even in the running, really. So
Yeah, it's Shea
Who is
and
the guard?
J-Dub are above Dort for whatever reason, but that's because they get the steal stat, and Dort's kind of just a good defender. He doesn't really get stats.
They
But I think they should have 2
the problem
awards.
the problem with
for
the guard thing,
DPOY.
they don't let you grab like they used to.
well, yeah, you can't put hands on.
You used to be able to grab, like Ron Artest would just put you in a body bag.
Yeah.
He was a forward, but he was guarding guards.
Yeah,
and
He's guarding everybody.
they wouldn't even let him play now. The way he played defense.
Well, also they're
I mean,
guarding in much more space, so I do think you should highlight a guard being able to guard or a wing being able to guard as well as they do on the perimeter. It's the way they're playing in so much space. Just any fans out there, watch the game, like watch a random game from 04, 05.
They're letting him grab more this year. It's why Boston's struggling. They're letting him be a little more grabby.
Yeah, there's that.
If I can grab you, you're not going to be able to make threes. That's just the way basketball is.
Yeah.
If
I mean,
can't,
they're still on a
if I-
60-win pace. Let's calm down.
No, but if I can't touch you, it does change the game.
Yeah.
It changes the game of basketball. If I can't touch you and I have total free reign to shoot threes and I can move free flowing, I'm more likely to make shots as a shooter myself. I'm just.
But
giving you-
but that also doesn't mean that it is better defense if you are more handsy. Like that's what I'm saying. Watch a game from 04, 05. There's a guy at the high post, there's a guy at the low block, and they're running an offense through a high post. And even if they are running pick and roll, which actually stats show that they're running pick and rolls less now than they were back then, with when you're looking at that. But they're guarding in more space now. So I think if they separate the DPOY into 2 awards, a big award and a guard award, why not? It will highlight 2 players for the price of 1, and I think the game needs that. But yeah, Dort I think should get it.
Yeah,
in
I
that
think
sense.
Dort should get it. I was gonna say you guys all pick Mobley, but I would give it to Dort if
Oh,
it
yeah.
wasn't Wemby.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, to even highlight some young guys, Amin Thompson on the Rockets. The Rockets are a great defensive team. They also do by committee themselves, but Amin Thompson's kind of Swiss Army knife. Let's highlight Dylan Brooks, not a young guy, but he's on the Rockets too. He's been doing his thing.
Brooks
just
is a
a few
solid
players.
defensive player.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody hates him, but
Yeah.
he's good on defense.
He's a good heel. If
He's
you
a
want to
goon, yeah.
reference experience of WWE a little bit. He knows how to play that role. Um, but yeah, is there anything else you guys want to add with that talk? No.
Do you guys want to talk about what our favorite sports movie is?
Yeah, if you want, I can start that off. In recent years,
first,
I loved Hustle with Adam Sandler. I liked Juan Hernan Gomez. I thought it was great.
I love Hustle.
Speaking of it being, a heel like a WWE heel, Anthony Edwards played that role great. It's like he wasn't acting like he really is a dickhead. But yeah, I really like Hustle. And then all-time classic, I loved He Got Game. I liked Ray Allen. I like the nickname. I like it being a nonsense Denzel movie too. So I really like He Got Game. John?
He Got Game is my favorite basketball sports movie. I would probably say my favorite sports movie is Raging Bull. It's kind of an old movie, but
no, it's great.
If you boxing doesn't really exist anymore, but if you want to see a movie of just pure pain and suffering and torture, watch Raging Bull. De Niro does a great job in it. He gains like 60 pounds during the course of the film. I mean, he's unbelievable. Like, did he win an Academy Award for it? I think he did, or was nominated. Somebody should have won something for it.
At least got nominated. The movie, the actor.
I do like. I like it Any Given Sunday. At the time when I saw Any Given Sunday, people said it was such a ridiculous movie, but when you actually look what the NFL has become, I think it's watered down. Any Given Sunday, it's almost too realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's another good. It's not as serious as I would say Raging Bull, but it's a good, fun sports movie. What about you, Bill?
First, I just want to piggyback on that about Any Given Sunday kind of coming true over time.
Yeah.
Blue Chips is the same way.
Exactly.
Everybody at the time thought Blue Chips
It's
was
outrageous.
bullshit.
They never do this.
They would never pay somebody with a tractor.
Yeah. No,
people
they
got
do.
that- yeah.
Like there's bags of money in front of your house.
Oh,
I do think Any Given Sunday fits that. What is that? Your movie?
Oh
or?
God, no.
It's not
I
a
like
great
it.
film, I would say.
Sports movies are kind of tough because obviously you have to think about like they're kind of script. If you know history, you kind of know the ending. You know the team's probably going to overcome. You know they're going to accomplish something. So it's really hard to create drama in sports movies. That's why typically the best sports movies are either baseball or boxing. They're for whatever reason the most cinematic, and the best sports movie to me, and it's bar none, is Moneyball, because it's about the behind the scenes. It's about the math of it. It's about changing the game from behind the scenes and how you can affect it just by. I mean, Billy Bean's a freaking genius. I mean, it completely changed it. And Brad Pitt's performance, are you kidding me? Freaking awesome.
I didn't name a baseball movie, but there is, Bull Durham. It's a funny movie, but Major League.
Major League is
It's a
classic.
great
Field of
baseball movie.
Dreams. I mean,
Field of Dreams is a
Yeah.
classic. 8 Men Out. It's kind of endless with baseball. I think it's easier to romanticize.
Yeah, 100%.
But Moneyball
is top.
doesn't totally romanticize it, but it is a great movie.
well, it just changed the game because everybody is thinking about the analytics now. Everybody's thinking about, hey, how can you just get on base? It's not just about home runs. It's not just about like, oh, we have the best player. No, we have the best 10 players that do a certain thing. Like
the Detroit Tigers literally,
it's like the Patriots.
this year, the Detroit Tigers took that model. They had a payroll, I think, of 30-40 million, and they almost made it all the way. Like they went on a crazy run because of data analytics. They literally would put this hitter in at this time, this pitcher at this, to throw one pitch to get one hitter. I mean, it was down to an exact science.
I mean, it changed like scouting. Like players wouldn't get scouted because they had an ugly girlfriend, and the scout would think like, oh, he has no confidence. He has an ugly girlfriend.
Yeah,
it's like no,
that's crazy. That's insane. Fair. What about you?
I'm gonna throw a curveball. Best sports movie ever, Kicking and Screaming. If you pass it to the Italians, pass it to the Italians. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Now I don't know if this is considered a sports movie or more of a documentary, but I really enjoyed Iron Claw. Was that?
No, I agree.
Wrestling's
Wrestling's
a phenomenal film. I mean, wrestling's a sport. I mean, it was just great, cinematically amazing, true story. You see what what they went through to be to where they're.
Is it better than The Wrestler?
I loved it way better than The Wrestler, personally.
I love The Wrestler. Iron Claw.
I love The Wrestler
film.
too. I haven't seen Iron Claw.
Yeah, he just said Iron Claw is a phenomenal film. I really, really loved it. Great story, true story.
It's so tragic they had to leave stuff out because it was already depressing enough.
Yeah, exactly. They couldn't get all of it in. But overall, it's a phenomenal film. Zac Efron did a great job. Everyone did a great job. There's really no one I dislike.
Watch Iron Claw on HBO.
Yeah,
For
great
sure.
movie.
No, that's 5 stars. That's a legit movie.
Great movie. That's my favorite sports movie for sure.
Well, awesome. So we're the Club Rats. I'm Jesiah.
I'm John.
Billy.
Fernando.
Remember to like, subscribe, comment. See you guys next week. Peace.